The leader's eyes flashed, anger boiling in its gaze. Stability through defiance? Impossible. Daniel's voice rose, filled with fire. You call it defiance. I call it love. And maybe that's something you've never seen before. His words hung heavy in the air. The aliens looked at him, then at each other. Some shifted nervously, their glowing forms flickering like dying flames. The chamber's rumble grew stronger. Symbols on the walls began to spin faster, glowing brighter, as if the chamber itself was alive and listening. Suddenly, one alien collapsed to its knees. Its silver eyes dimmed. The system is breaking, it whispered. The trial cannot hold against him. His refusal rewrites the balance. The leader hissed in fury. No, he is only one human. He cannot rewrite the laws of the stars. But another alien spoke louder, its voice trembling with awe. And yet he has. The void obeyed him. The trial ended on his terms, not ours. He did not bend. He stood. The circle erupted into chaos. Some shouted for destruction, others for recognition. Their voices clashed like thunder, shaking the chamber walls. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, breathing hard. He was exhausted, his body trembling, but he would not show weakness. He pressed a kiss to Lily's hair, whispered into Ben's ear, "Hold on to me. No matter what happens, don't let go." He raised his voice again, louder than the storm of alien voices. "You call me one human, but I'm not alone. Every parent, every mother, every father on Earth would have done the same. We don't abandon our children. That is who we are. That is humanity." The chamber pulsed, light surging like lightning across the walls. The leader stumbled back, its silver eyes wide for the first time. Then a voice unlike the others filled the air, deep, ancient, resonant. It came not from the leader, not from the council, but from the chamber itself. Truth has been spoken. The aliens froze, their voices silenced instantly. The glowing symbols on the walls merged, forming a massive figure of light above the platform. Its shape was vague, shifting, part alien, part something beyond. The leader's voice shook. "The core speaks." Daniel tightened his hold on his children, staring at the vast figure. "What are you?" The voice echoed again, deep and endless. "I am the core of judgment. I watch the trials across the stars. I measure. I decide. And now I see." The leader cried out, desperate. "Core, this human defies the trial. He breaks the law. He must be punished." The core's glowing form pulsed brighter. "No, he does not break. He transcends. His refusal has revealed what your council forgot. Strength without compassion is hollow. Law without love is empty. This human has shown balance." The council erupted in protest, but the core's voice drowned them all. The human's answer stands. He chose sacrifice, not selfishness. He chose both, not one. This is strength greater than survival. This is strength that endures. Daniel's knees almost gave out. Relief and disbelief flooded him all at once. He clung to Lily and Ben, whispering, "It's okay. It's going to be okay." The leader fell silent, its silver eyes flickering weakly. For the first time, Daniel thought he saw fear in its face. The core's voice boomed again. "The trial is ended. Humanity passes." The glowing walls dimmed slowly, the rumbling fading. The council of aliens lowered their heads, some in shame, some in silent acceptance. Daniel stood trembling, his children safe in his arms, but he did not look victorious. He only looked tired. A father who had given everything and somehow, against all odds, kept his family together. The core's light softened, and its voice spoke directly to Daniel. "Human father, your love has silenced the trial. Carry it back to your world. Teach it, protect it, for others will come, and they will test you again." Daniel nodded slowly. His voice was quiet but firm. "I'll be ready, and so will humanity." The core's light faded, leaving only the circle of silent aliens. None dared to move, and then with a final flash, the chamber itself dissolved into white. Daniel's vision blurred. He felt weightless, as if falling through endless light. His children's hands were still in his, their fingers tight around his own. Then, silence. The silent victory. Daniel gasped as the blinding light faded. His feet touched solid ground again. For a moment he could not tell where he was. The air smelled familiar, warm and dusty, not cold and metallic. He blinked, hard, his arms still wrapped around Lily and Ben. Then he realized. He was standing in the hallway of the school where he worked. The same place he had been cleaning only hours earlier. The lights buzzed faintly above. The old clock on the wall ticked as if nothing had happened. But Daniel knew everything had changed. He looked down at his children. They were real, breathing, alive. Their small hands clutched his shirt so tightly it almost tore. He dropped to his knees, holding them close, his face pressed against their hair. Tears streamed down his cheeks, relief crashing over him in waves. "It's over," he whispered. "You're safe, I've got you." Lily sniffled, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Was it real?" Ben looked around the hallway, his brow furrowed. "The aliens, the chamber, it felt real, Dad." Daniel hugged them, tighter. "It was real. But we're home now, that's what matters." For a moment, the world seemed perfectly still. Then, outside the school windows, Daniel saw it, a faint shimmer in the night sky. Not stars, not planes. The same silver light, from before lingering high above the city. He froze, staring. The aliens were still watching, but this time they did not come closer. They remained silent, their presence hidden behind the stars. Watching, listening, remembering. Daniel rose slowly to his feet, his children by his side. He placed a hand on their shoulders and whispered, "Let them watch, let them see what love can do. We don't need to prove anything more." Lily looked up at him with wide eyes. "Daddy, did you really tell them to take you instead?" Daniel smiled faintly, though his voice broke when he spoke. "Of course I did. I'd give everything for you both. Always." Ben's eyes glistened. "That's why they were scared, because you didn't play their game." Daniel ruffled his son's hair. "Maybe. Or maybe because they saw something stronger than power. Something they couldn't control." He guided them toward the exit, the echo of their footsteps soft, against the floor. Each step felt heavy with the weight of what had happened, but also lighter, as if he had laid down a burden he had carried his whole life. When they stepped outside, the night air wrapped around them. The city was quiet, unaware of what had just taken place above it. Streetlights glowed softly, cars rolled in the distance, and life continued as if nothing had changed. But Daniel knew better. Somewhere far beyond, in chambers older than any Earth building, the story of one single janitor had shaken an empire. The aliens had wanted to break him. Instead, he had broken their law. They had wanted him to choose. Instead, he chose the impossible, and won. He knelt down in front of his children once more. His hands cupped their cheeks, his tired eyes meeting theirs. "Listen to me. What happened tonight? You must never forget it. Not because of the fear, but because of what it showed. That love can silence even the strongest enemy." Lily nodded slowly, her tears drying. Ben straightened his back, trying to look brave. Daniel smiled weakly. "One day you'll tell this story to others, and when you do, remember, we are not weak. Humanity is not weak. We are stronger than they ever believed." The children hugged him again, and for a moment everything felt right. Above, the silver lights flickered one last time, and then vanished into the darkness of space. No words, no threats, no return. Only silence. The silent victory. Daniel stood, holding his children's hands. Together they walked home, their steps steady, their hearts heavy with what they had endured. But in that silence, Daniel felt something deeper than fear. He felt hope. Hope that the aliens, wherever they had gone, now carried a truth they could never erase. Hope that humanity had proven something greater than weapons or strength, that even in the face of impossible choice, love could change everything. As they disappeared down the quiet street, the stars above seemed brighter than before. And somewhere, in the endless night of space, alien eyes still watched. But this time they were silent. Because they had been silenced not by power, not by force, but by the love of a father who refused to break. Daniel stood with his children in his arms, looking up into the light. His voice was raw but unbroken. This is my answer, and nothing you do will change it. The blackness shattered like glass, exploding into a storm of light. The roar of alien voices vanished, replaced by silence so deep it shook his bones. When Daniel opened his eyes, he was back in the alien chamber. His children were in his arms, alive, breathing, clinging to him tightly. The circle of aliens stood frozen. Their silver eyes no longer blazed with power. They dimmed, confused, silenced. For the first time, Daniel saw something strange in their expressions. Not anger, not arrogance, fear. The alien reaction. The chamber was silent. Daniel stood in the center, his arms wrapped tightly around Lily and Ben. Both children clung to him, shaking, their small faces buried against his chest. He could still feel, their tears soaking into his shirt, could hear their quick breaths, but they were alive. That was all that mattered. The aliens surrounding them did not move. Their tall, glowing forms flickered as if their very bodies were unstable. Their silver eyes, once burning with power and arrogance, now dimmed to a dull shine. Finally, the leader stepped forward. Its voice filled Daniel's mind, but it no longer thundered with confidence. This is not possible. No one defies the trial. No one breaks the test. Daniel's voice was raw but steady. Then maybe your test was wrong from the start. A sharp murmur spread through the circle of aliens, their voices rising like a storm of whispers. Some leaned forward, their eyes narrowing. Others looked away as if ashamed. One alien hissed, its voice sharp and cutting. Weakness. He shows weakness. Emotion clouds judgment. Sacrifice of one should be strength. This is chaos. Another spoke, its tone lower, thoughtful, or perhaps, this is strength of another kind. A kind we did not understand. The leader slammed its staff against the floor. The chamber shook with the sound. The silver eyes of every alien flashed bright once more. Silence. This human has twisted the trial. He refuses the choice. This cannot stand. Daniel took a step forward, still holding his children close. His voice rose, louder than it had ever been. I didn't twist anything. I gave you the only answer that matters. A father does not choose one child over another. He gives himself if he must, but never his children. That's love. That's humanity. His words echoed across the chamber. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then slowly the murmurs returned. The aliens were no longer in agreement. Love is weakness, one said, though its voice shook. Yet his refusal stopped the void. Another answered. His choice broke our power. No trial has ever ended this way. The leader turned its burning eyes back on Daniel. You think love is stronger than judgment? Stronger than the law of survival? Daniel raised his chin, his arms tightening around his children. Yes. You've traveled across stars, but you still don't understand the most simple truth. Love makes us stronger than fear, stronger than pain, stronger than death. The leader stared at him. For the first time, Daniel thought he saw doubt flicker in those silver eyes. But another alien stepped forward, its voice like broken glass. If this human is allowed to pass, it will shatter the order. Every world we have tested will question us. He must fail, he must. The circle erupted into argument. Some shouted for punishment, others for recognition. Their voices overlapped in a storm of strange sounds, echoing until the very chamber seemed to shake under the weight of their division. Daniel held his children close and whispered to them, Don't be afraid. Whatever happens, I'm here. Lily clung tighter. Ben pressed his face against his father's chest, whispering, I'm not scared. Not with you. The storm of alien voices suddenly stopped as the leader raised its staff again. Enough. The chamber grew quiet, every eye fixed on Daniel. Human. You have defied the trial. You have given an answer no other world has dared. The council is divided. Some see weakness, some see strength, but I see a problem. Daniel's heart pounded. Then solve it. Let us go. The leader tilted its head. You think it ends here? No. The trial was only to measure. Now we must decide. If your kind is dangerous. Daniel's stomach tightened. He pulled his children even closer. Dangerous? Because I chose love instead of cruelty? The leader's voice was colder now. Because you refused the rules. If humans cannot be bound by the trial, perhaps they cannot be trusted at all. The circle hummed, louder than before. The word dangerous seemed to roll through them like thunder. Daniel's anger flared. He stepped forward, his voice sharp, full of fire. You're afraid. That's what this is. You thought you could break me, but instead, I broke your test, and now you're afraid of what that means. The aliens hissed, some stepping back. For a moment, Daniel almost smiled. He was just a janitor, a man with no power, no weapons, no army. Yet somehow in this moment he held the power to shake them. The leader's staff glowed, the chamber burning with light. If humans truly are this defiant, this dangerous, then perhaps we made a mistake allowing them to live among the stars. Daniel's breath caught. What are you saying? The leader's voice grew heavy, final. If one man can break our laws, then what could an entire world of humans do? Perhaps your species must be contained, or destroyed. The chamber fell silent again, the words hanging in the air like a blade over his head. Daniel's chest tightened, but he did not look away. He pressed a kiss to his children's hair and whispered, No matter what they say, don't forget what we are. Don't forget we're stronger than this. He raised his eyes back to the leader, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. If you think destroying us will keep you safe, then you've already lost. Because you can't erase what you saw here today. You can't erase love. The leader's silver eyes narrowed, but it did not reply. Instead, the chamber lights dimmed and a deep vibration shook the floor. Somewhere beyond the walls, a new sound rose. Not whispers, not arguments, but the low rumble of something vast awakening. The trial was over. But something greater had begun, the turning point. The chamber shook as the low rumble grew louder, rising through the floor and walls like the beating heart of some giant machine. Daniel held his children close, shielding them with his body. Lily buried her face in his chest while Ben clung tightly to his arm, his small voice whispering, Daddy, what's happening? Daniel had no answer. His eyes scanned the alien circle, and for the first time he saw uncertainty written across their glowing faces. They were afraid, not of him, but of something deeper, something breaking apart inside their own system. The leader slammed its staff down. A sharp crack of light split the air, forcing silence across the chamber. The trial has ended, the voice boomed, but the verdict remains. Humanity stands on the edge of judgment. The circle of aliens shifted restlessly. Some hissed, in agreement, their silver eyes burning brighter. Others lowered their heads, whispering quietly. For the first time, they were no longer one voice. Daniel's heart pounded. He stepped forward, still holding Lily and Ben. His voice echoed, raw but unshaken. I don't care about your verdict. I don't care about your rules. All I care about is them. He pressed his children close. And nothing in this universe will ever change that. The aliens hissed again, the sound sharp like knives scraping against glass. One of them pointed a long hand at Daniel, its voice cutting through the chamber. This is why humans are dangerous. They bend laws with emotion. They refuse order. They must be contained. Another stepped forward, its voice calm, almost reverent. No. Do you not see? This human has revealed a truth. His refusal did not destroy. It saved. His sacrifice ended the void. His answer created stability where we expected collapse. The father's struggle. The chamber remained silent after Daniel's words. The tall alien figures, once so confident, now stood in stillness. Their silver eyes dimmed and brightened again, like flickering stars. It was as if they could not process what they had just heard. Daniel stood with his chest heaving, sweat dripping down his face. His hands were clenched at his sides, but inside, his heart was breaking. His children were only a few feet away, yet separated by walls of light. He could hear their cries, feel their fear, but he could not reach them. "Please," Lily whispered from behind the barrier, her small hands pressed against the glowing surface. "Daddy, don't leave us." Ben's voice was louder, full of anger. "Don't listen to them, Dad. You don't have to do this." Daniel's eyes filled with tears, but he forced himself to look steady. He had to be strong for them even now. He swallowed hard and said, "I love you both more than anything, and if my life is the price to keep you safe, then it's worth it." The alien leader finally moved. Its long body bent forward, silver eyes narrowing. The voice in Daniel's head returned, but softer than before. "Your answer is different. On other worlds, parents begged for mercy or chose quickly. They valued one life over another. You refuse." Daniel's voice cracked, but he spoke, firmly. "Because they didn't understand. Being a parent means you don't choose between your children. You protect them both, no matter the cost." The circle of aliens began humming again, but this time it was lower, heavier, almost like an argument. Their whispers filled the chamber, words Daniel could not understand. The leader raised its long hand, silencing them. "But what if we refuse? Your offer? What if we erase them both?" Daniel's chest tightened. The fear stabbed at him, sharp and merciless, but he stood tall, his voice shaking yet stubborn. "Then you prove nothing. You prove only that you are monsters, and monsters may have power, but they will never have honor." For a moment, the chamber flickered. The glowing walls pulsed as though alive. The timer above the platform began moving again, its red light ticking down faster than before. Daniel's stomach twisted. His time was running out. He dropped to his knees in front of the barrier, pressing his forehead against the light. He whispered through it, voice low and desperate. "Lily, Ben, listen to me. No matter what happens, I need you to remember something." The children leaned close, listening with wide eyes. "Never let anyone tell you that you are weak. You are strong, stronger than you know. You carry love in your hearts, and that love is the greatest power in the universe." Lily began to cry harder. Ben's fists trembled against the barrier. "Daddy, stop talking like that," Ben shouted. "We're not going to lose you." Daniel's tears finally fell. He had tried to be strong, but his voice broke. "I wish I could be with you forever, but if I can't, then promise me you'll take care of each other. Promise me you'll never give up." The timer ticked lower. 30 seconds left. The aliens stood silently, their silver eyes fixed on him. Daniel's mind raced. Could he fight them? No, their power was too great. Could he break the barrier? Impossible. It burned like fire when he touched it. Could he plead again? They would not listen. But still, a thought sparked inside him. He remembered the stories he told his children every night. Stories of heroes, of captains, of humans who faced the impossible. He had always told them that bravery was not about winning. It was about standing firm even when the world tried to crush you. He closed his eyes. He would not let fear control him. He would not break. The timer flashed red. 10 seconds left. The alien leader's voice filled the chamber once more. "Choose. One child or all are lost. This is the final chance." Daniel stood tall again, raising his chin. His voice was loud, shaking the chamber. "I choose neither. I will never choose. If you want sacrifice, take me, not them." The red. Timer froze at 5 seconds. The hum of the chamber stopped. The barrier around the children flickered, then stabilized again. The aliens hissed, stepping back in shock. The leader tilted its head, silver eyes burning brighter. This defiance, it is not weakness. But is it strength? We cannot decide. The other aliens whispered furiously, their voices like rushing winds. Some pointed at Daniel, others at the children. Daniel took a deep breath and shouted again, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. Strength is not killing the innocent. Strength is protecting them. You came here to test us, but you do not understand. Humanity does not abandon its children. Humanity fights until the end. The chamber trembled. The glowing symbols on the walls burned brighter, shifting faster. The leader raised its long arm and slammed a staff against the ground. The sound was deafening. The walls shook. The children cried out. Then the leader's voice returned, low and dangerous. Very well, human. You have shown us something we did not expect. But the trial is not finished. The choice remains. Daniel's heart sank. What more do you want from me? The alien's silver eyes glowed brighter. We will push you further. We will see if your love breaks and or if it burns even stronger. Before Daniel could respond, the platform beneath him cracked open. A blinding light swallowed his body. His children screamed his name, but their voices were torn away. Daniel fell into darkness. The impossible answer. Daniel's eyes snapped open. He was no longer in the chamber. He stood in a narrow hallway that looked like his old apartment building, but the walls shimmered unnaturally, as if made of light instead of brick. The air was cold, heavy, almost alive. He could hear faint whispers, but no one was there. He turned sharply. Behind him was a door with peeling paint, the same door he had opened every night after work. His home. Lily? Ben? His voice cracked. He rushed inside, and there they were. His children stood in the middle of the small living room, their faces pale with fear. "Daddy!" Lily screamed, running toward him. Daniel knelt and grabbed her into his arms, holding her so tightly he thought he'd never let go. Ben clung to his other side, his small arms shaking as they wrapped around their father's waist. For one breathless moment, relief washed through him. They were safe. They were here. But then, the lights flickered. The air thickened. A low hum filled the room. The children's bodies turned cold in his arms. He pulled back in shock. Their eyes glowed silver, just like the aliens. He stumbled away, heart hammering. No, this isn't real. The figures of his children, twisted, their voices layered with the alien hum. Choose, human, choose now. The room shifted, breaking apart like shattered glass. The apartment walls dissolved, leaving only black emptiness and the two glowing figures of Lily and Ben. Each stood on separate platforms floating above the void. Beneath them, endless darkness stretched forever. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. "Stop this! Stop playing with them!" A voice thundered all around him. "This is the final trial. One platform will vanish. One child will fall. Choose who survives." His knees went weak. He wanted to scream, to tear the world apart with his hands. His children stood far apart, each looking at him with wide, terrified eyes. "Daddy," Lily whispered, tears running down her cheeks. "Please don't let me fall." "Dad!" Ben shouted, voice trembling. "Save her! Save Lily! Don't worry about me!" Daniel's heart split in two. He wanted to die. He wanted this nightmare to end. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. His mind screamed, "How do I choose? How can I?" The alien voice grew sharper. "Decide, now, or both will be erased." Daniel's chest heaved. His lungs felt like they were filled with fire. He forced himself to look at them. His beautiful daughter, his brave son. Every memory of their lives flashed before his eyes. Lily's first word, Ben's first broken toy, their laughter when they played in the park, their tears when they missed their mother. His own promises whispered every night, "I'll protect you. Always." His vision blurred with tears. I can't. His voice cracked. I can't choose, don't you understand? I can't. The platforms trembled. The black void below seemed to pull closer. The alien voice thundered again. Then both will be lost. Humanity fails. Daniel's breath shook, but suddenly his mind cleared. He rose slowly to his feet, fists clenched. His fear twisted into something stronger, a burning fire in his chest. No, he said, his voice low but steady. The aliens fell silent. Daniel stepped forward, staring at his children, then at the endless void. His eyes burned with fury. You want an answer? You'll have one. He spread his arms wide and shouted into the emptiness. I choose neither. I choose both. If you want someone to fall, then let it be me. The platforms froze. The hum faltered. Daniel's voice thundered louder, shaking the dark. Do you hear me? I will not choose between my children. Take my life, take my body, take everything, but leave them both. The void quivered. The children's platforms shook violently. The alien voices whispered in chaos, no longer in control. The leader's voice finally roared, but it no longer sounded confident. You defy the test, you break the rules. Daniel stepped closer to the edge of the void. His eyes glowed with determination. Then your rules are worthless. A father does not choose which child to save. A father saves them both, even if it kills him. The void exploded with light. The platforms cracked apart, but instead of falling, his children floated gently toward him, glowing with warmth. He grabbed them, one in each arm, and pulled them to his chest. The alien voices screamed, their silver eyes flickering in the darkness. The chamber trembled as if the entire world could not contain what had just happened. The ordinary janitor. The school hallways were quiet at night. The lights hummed above the long corridor, some flickering with age. A man pushed his cleaning cart slowly across the polished floor. His name was Daniel, a single father who worked as the school's janitor. He wore old shoes, his uniform a little torn at the sleeve. But his eyes were kind, and his heart carried a heavy weight of love. Every night after the classrooms were empty, Daniel worked until midnight. He cleaned the chalk dust, fixed broken desks, and emptied trash bins. Teachers barely noticed him. Students laughed sometimes at his old clothes, but none of that mattered. All that mattered were his two children waiting at home. Daniel had a daughter, Lily, only 10 years old, with a bright smile and endless questions. His son Ben was 8, full of energy, always trying to make his sister laugh. They were his entire world. Their mother had left years ago, leaving him to raise them alone. It was hard, but Daniel never complained. He wanted to give them a safe life, even if it meant working nights and mornings with little rest. That evening, as he scrubbed the floor near the library, his phone buzzed. A message from Lily. Daddy, don't forget bedtime story. He smiled, tired, but warm inside. Every night, even when exhausted, he told them stories. Sometimes about knights, sometimes about space explorers. He believed stories gave children hope, and hope was something they all needed. He finished his shift earlier than usual and hurried home. Their small apartment was simple, 2 bedrooms, old furniture, but filled with laughter. The children ran to him when he entered, wrapping their arms around his legs. Story time, Ben shouted. Daniel lifted them both onto the couch. He opened a book, but then closed it again. Instead, he spoke from his heart. Once, he began, there was a brave captain alone in the stars. He had nothing but courage, and 2 little stars he had to protect. Lily leaned close, listening with wide eyes. Ben grinned, pretending to hold a sword. For a moment, the tired janitor felt like a hero. After the story, he tucked them into bed, kissed their foreheads, and whispered, I love you more than anything. The apartment fell quiet. He sat by the window, staring at the night sky. Strange lights flickered above the city. At first he thought it was an airplane, then maybe a satellite. But the lights didn't move like anything normal. They pulsed, almost alive, glowing blue and white. Daniel frowned, feeling uneasy. He stood, walked onto the balcony and looked up. The air was strangely silent, as if the city itself held its breath. Then, a low hum vibrated through the night. His chest tightened, the hairs on his arms rising. He rushed to his children's room, heart racing. Both were asleep, peaceful and safe. But outside, the light grew stronger, spreading across the sky like a giant glowing crack. The floor shook. Books fell from the shelf. The hum grew louder, turning into a roar. Daniel grabbed his children, pulling them close. "It's okay, Daddy's here," he whispered, though fear burned inside him. Suddenly, the walls shimmered with light, as if reality itself was tearing open. A flash blinded him, and he felt the ground vanish beneath his feet. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the apartment. He stood inside a vast chamber, cold and metallic, filled with towering alien figures. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, and in the center, a platform pulsed with light. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. His children were gone. Alien voices echoed around him, deep and unearthly. He could not understand the words, but he felt their meaning. A test had begun. The alien trial. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest as his eyes adjusted to the cold light of the chamber. The air felt heavy, metallic, and full of an energy he could not explain. The place was huge, taller than any cathedral he had ever seen. Walls curved upward like the inside of a giant dome, glowing with strange symbols that moved as if alive. He looked around desperately. "Lily? Ben?" His voice echoed, swallowed by the emptiness. There was no answer, only silence that pressed, hard against his ears. Then from the shadows, figures began to move. Tall, thin creatures with glowing skin stepped forward. Their eyes burned bright like molten silver. Their bodies looked both human and not. Limbs too long, heads slightly stretched, robes flowing as if made from light itself. They circled him, slowly, studying him the way scientists study an insect in a glass jar. One of them stepped closer. Its mouth did not move, but Daniel heard a voice directly inside his head. The words were not English, yet somehow he understood. Human. "You have been chosen." Daniel stumbled back, fear and confusion twisting in his chest. "Where are my children?" he demanded. "Where did you take them?" The alien's silver eyes glowed brighter. "They are safe. For now. But we will see how strong your kind truly is." Another alien moved its long fingers in the air, and suddenly the platform in the center of the chamber lit up. Two glowing shapes appeared, Lily and Ben. They looked real, their small hands pressed against an invisible barrier, eyes wide with fear. "Daddy." Lily's voice echoed, muffled but desperate. Ben pounded his little fists against the wall of light. Daniel rushed forward, but the aliens blocked his path. A cold energy pushed him back, forcing him to his knees. "Let them go," he shouted, his voice breaking. The first alien raised its hand, and the children's images flickered. "We will not harm them unless you fail. This is the trial." Daniel stared, shaking. "Trial? What trial?" The alien's voice grew louder, like thunder inside his mind. "You must choose. One child lives. One child vanishes. Forever." The word struck him like a blade. His mouth went dry, his legs felt weak. For a moment he could not breathe. "What?" His voice cracked. No, that's not possible. I will never choose between them. They are my life." The circle of aliens hummed in unison, a sound like 100 bells ringing in strange harmony. "You must. It is the only way. Every world we visit faces this test. Sacrifice shows strength. Emotion shows weakness. Choose or both will be erased." Daniel's stomach turned. He looked at his children again. Lily's face was pale, tears rolling down her cheeks. Ben was shouting, but his words were lost behind the glowing barrier. His heart ached so deeply it felt like it might break open. These were his babies, his only reason to wake up each day. How could anyone expect him to choose one life over another? "This is insane," he whispered, shaking his head. "You don't understand. A parent cannot do this. No father can. The alien tilted its head. Others have chosen. On other worlds, mothers and fathers have decided quickly. They sacrificed one to save the other. Do not pretend humans are different. Daniel's fist clenched. His body trembled, not just from fear but from anger. We are different, you'll see. The chamber darkened. A glowing timer appeared in the air above the platform. Red symbols ticked down slowly like a clock. You have one cycle, the alien voice declared. When the light fades, you must answer, or both children will vanish into the void. Daniel's throat tightened. He dropped to his knees, pressing his hands against the barrier of light, trying to reach his kids. They pressed back, but there was no way through. "Daddy, don't let them hurt us," Lily cried. Ben shouted, "Fight them, Dad, don't give up." Daniel closed his eyes, his mind filled with memories. Lily's first steps, Ben's first laugh, nights of hunger when he gave them his food and went to bed empty. Their birthdays with cheap cakes but full of laughter. Every sacrifice he had made meant nothing if he let one of them go. His chest burned with pain, but deep inside, something else was waking, something strong, stubborn, human. He stood slowly, facing the aliens. His voice shook, but his eyes were steady. "You want me to choose? You think I'll let one of my children die just to satisfy your sick game? Then you don't know what it means to be human." The aliens hissed in unison, their silver eyes flashing. "If you refuse, both will be lost. Do you truly believe your love is stronger than our judgment?" Daniel's hands trembled, but he raised his chin. "Yes, because love is stronger than anything you'll ever understand." The timer ticked lower. The hum of the chamber grew louder. The children's cries filled his ears, breaking his heart. Sweat rolled down his forehead. But Daniel did not move toward either child. He would not decide. He pressed his hand over his chest and whispered, "Take me instead." The aliens froze. Their voices fell silent. The hum stopped. The timer flickered. Daniel shouted louder this time. "Do you hear me? Take me. Spare both of them and end this. I'll give my life, but you cannot make me choose between my children." For the first time, the chamber grew still. The aliens looked at one another, their silver eyes dimming with confusion. Whispers moved among them, strange and broken. The leader tilted its head slowly as if trying to process something it had never seen before. "Human," the voice echoed softer now. "You would sacrifice yourself?" Daniel's voice cracked, but his answer was firm. 1,000 times. Because that's what fathers do. The chamber shook as if something inside the alien world itself had been disturbed. The glowing timer froze, its red light flickering uncertainly. And then, silence. Daniel stood, staring at the strange beings, chest heaving, waiting for their answer.